Hi everyone, Marna here with Standing Strong Within. And this is my first YouTube video that I'm going to post. I'm just going to talk a little bit about this scribble right here. And I'm going to talk about how we go from the old self to the new self. And I had posted this little scribbly thing a little while ago. I said I would talk about it more. So like, what the hell are you talking about, Marna? What is this anyway? Well, this is like your brain 101, right? Because my focus for the last 10 years has been on change. Now, I was told we always teach what we need to learn, and change is hard. And I've had a lot of struggles in my life with change, and I know I'm not alone. And what makes change doable is having some light. But that's not the only thing. There's a lot of other things that go along with change. Being able to change, we kind of need to understand the process of it. And I try to make it really simple because I need things really simple. And so what we have here on this side is what I call the old self. And these little circles, they're neural pathways in your brain. And this is the neural pathway of the self that you're wanting to change. And let's just say that this little line is like telling you, I can't do it. I can't do it, right? And we've been thinking that thought for like 20 years. I can't do it. I can't do that. I can't change. Change is too hard, right? And it gets very dark after a while. And so then we want to change, and we go to a therapist, or we go to a coach, or we read a book, and we're like, how do I change? And maybe we make change for a couple of days or whatever, and then we're like, why isn't this working? Well, because the new self, here are our little neurons in our brains, has a new pathway that says, I think I can do this. Like, I think I can. But look, it's not as dark as this one, because we've been doing this one for so long that when we try to do this one, it's a little bit hard. And I started learning about this a long time ago. I mean, Eckhart Tolle, in his book, he talks about the pain body and how things get lodged in our body. And then I dove into somatic therapy through the Hakomi method and kind of wanted to understand the body. I've been learning about it and teaching about it for so long. And this is a really simple model to a very complex, bigger picture, right? But I like to keep things simple. So in order to change, we have to stop thinking I can't, and we have to start saying I can. But it's not as simple as just positive thinking, because we all know, if you've been on the change train, you know that positive thinking doesn't work. It doesn't, because you can't just tell yourself, oh, I can. Because if we start to build the neural pathway, but there's no connection to the feeling, it's not going to happen. And the piece around change that I have been missing, and I'm still not 100% clear on it, in order to make true change, not only do we have to change from this hard line and get this line to be a little bit more ingrained, we have to connect the brain with the heart. I was always talking about the body, and how important it is to be in touch with the body. And it is. But for years, I've been missing the importance of our brain. And I just think, how could I have missed that? The brain, right? And on a personal note, what has forced me to pay attention to my brain is an autoimmune issue that has created inflammation in my brain. So as part of my healing journey, and I'm telling you, I'm on a journey to be healed. I'm not going to be healing all the time. I'm on a journey to be healed. And part of that has been to learn about my brain, right? And how this and this need to connect, right? Because we can't just work on the body and we can't just work on the brain. These two have to synchronize, because this is where we create coherence. And that's a whole other video to talk about coherence. But I'll tell you this. Coherence is similar to alignment. And when people say, what is that? It's when there's more harmony in the system. You see, the heart and the brain need to be on the same page. So that's where we get even more deep here. Because if you were born on planet Earth, then you most likely have trauma. Because we live on a planet that is traumatizing. It just is by nature, okay? Even if you had good parents. it's rough here, okay? So you 99% likely to have some continuum of trauma, whether it's PTSD or complex PTSD. And PTSD is a whole other video, as well as Coherence. It's just a quick overview, right? Because we live in a traumatizing world. And so if you were born on planet Earth, you most likely have some kind of trauma, right? And what that means is somewhere along the line in life, something happened, a perceived or a real threat happened, and a conflict between the heart and the brain happened. And these two things started to get further and further apart, okay? And there's a lot to that. But when that happens, when the heart and the brain aren't on the same page, that's like the basis for incoherence, right? Fragmentation, anxiety, depression, disease. But here on planet Earth, it's pretty normalized to be out of balance and incoherent. And more, anxiety and depression is being normalized over and over again. And I'm not really on board with that. I don't believe that anxiety and depression should be normal, okay? There are lots of ways to overcome it. And going from an anxiety brain to a more coherent brain, right, helps align these two things. So this is a very quick overview of these topics. And the reason I want to come on here and just start sharing this stuff, one, it's part of my journey to wholeness. Because I have been out of alignment, okay? My heart and my brain have been out of alignment. Otherwise, I wouldn't have inflammation in my brain and disharmony in my immune system, okay? And the way that I have been out of alignment is I have not been sharing my knowledge, my truth, my experience. I haven't been sharing the deep dives that I take as a human being, you know? I'm an intense person. I'm deep. I don't mind diving into the shadows of my life and other people's lives, and I have a tremendous bandwidth, not a perfect bandwidth, but a pretty big bandwidth for discomfort, and that has been a blessing and a curse, okay? And somewhere along the line, in the last 10 years, I got disconnected. I got fragmented inside. But you wouldn't know it because I was still kicking along. And this is, many of us get fragmented, but we still keep showing up. And so part of me and creating a channel and just starting to share myself is I need to use my voice, okay? I need to allow this energy and this knowing to come up through my throat center and start sharing with you, those who need to hear me will find me, okay? And this is my journey to wholeness, is to share with you, to shine my light and to bring myself out and to show you how to do it. And you'll either like me or you won't. If you don't, no problem. Just go find your people. Go find the people that are for you, okay? And if you do like me, hang out. Let's have a conversation, a heartfelt conversation, you know? And if you want to work with me, you can work with me. If you just want to listen to me, you can listen to me. So that's what I am here to do. This is my very first video, and I'm going to just put it up on YouTube and see what happens. This is Marna Cathleen with Standing Strong Within, and stay tuned.